While the Trump administration is besieged by rebellion related to its refusal to do an investigation into the civil rights violations and the execution-style murders of Renee Good and Alex Pretty on the streets of Minneapolis, they are busy arresting Don Lemon, the journalist, while he was covering the Grammy Awards, apparently last night, was arrested by federal agents. It's a curious turn of events. Abbe Lowell, his lawyer, has issued a statement proclaiming Don's innocence. He was covering, as a journalist, a church protest about ICE's presence in Minnesota at a Minneapolis or St. Paul church on the 18th of January. Multiple judges and courts in Minnesota and for Minnesota, from the magistrate judge to the chief judge to the Eighth Circuit, have rejected attempts to issue arrest warrants for Don Lemon. But either they got some sort of grand jury to issue an indictment, or they got another magistrate judge to issue a arrest warrant. Either way, it's been reported that he has been picked up, in the Department of Justice, again, rather than dealing with mass resignations that are planned in the Minnesota U.S. Attorney's Office over their failure to investigate properly the death of Renee Good and Alex Pretty, are busy using their scarce resources to arrest journalists doing their job. Todd Blanche to hold a press conference later today about it, but we know what he's going to say because you're here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF, and we brought the receipts on Michael Popok. Now, Todd Blanche seems to be taking the lead on this, not Pam Bondi, although the reporting was that Pam Bondi was outraged that a magistrate judge in Minneapolis, Judge Micco, although he issued 3 arrest warrants for the 3 protesters who actually were in the church in violation of federal law, he did not, and found there was no probable cause to arrest a journalist and his producer, Don Lemon, an independent journalist and his producer, who were there covering the protest. He's not the only one. When Pam Bondi didn't like that, she ran to have a Article 3 district court judge assigned to the case to override the magistrate. That became Chief Judge Schultz. Chief Judge Schultz did not override the magistrate. In fact, he wrote letters and emails to the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals, in which Judge Schultz said in no uncertain terms that Don Lemon did nothing wrong. He said there's no evidence that the journalist and the producer committed any crimes. That's the Chief Judge of Minnesota. That apparently outraged Pam Bondi. The Eighth Circuit eventually rejected her petition to force Judge Schultz to issue arrest warrants. Judge Schultz also noted that there were no precedent, 0 times in history, where a district court judge overrode the magistrate court decision not to issue an arrest warrant. Apparently not good enough for the Justice Department, which is also stung and bracing itself for a massive resignations in the U.S. Attorney's Office again in Minnesota. Just 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had about a dozen different U.S. attorneys in the Civil Rights Division and in Minnesota walk